Hi, everybody. This is, it's me. You know this voice. If you're hearing this voice and you've listened to this show, introduction should be a bit of a formality, but just for those of you who might be stumbling upon this at random in a playlist on Apple Podcasts or somewhere on Spotify, or you've recently joined the Patreon and you have no idea what this is, I am going to fulfill a backer benefit that has been, in all fairness, supremely lacking. And so I have gathered a beautiful and wonderful list of people who support our show, and I'm going to read them into the official record for 2023. This is all of our active backers. I'm going to start from the first backer ever and then move all the way to the present day. For some people on this list, they may have a handle or an acronym or a name I might have trouble pronouncing. So if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. I'm happy to take whatever corrections you might have, although I won't be going back in here and correcting the record. If you stick around until the 2024 list is made, then I'll be certain to correct it, provided that you email. So what I'll be reading is our backer list, and I'm going to also sprinkle in a little bit of story time with some of these, because I think that some of the people on this list are truly amazing. We supremely benefit by them being around. So I'm going to begin with our first backer. You know them very well from the likes of their work on Horror on the Orient Express. You likely know them from their work on the Vampire the Masquerade seasons. And you would also know them for their current iteration as the head of Mythos, and that is Keep Arena. They are our first backer. They joined the day the Patreon launched. Soon after that, a very good friend of mine for multiple decades, Darius McCaskey, and then Curtis Rizal, and then Richard Gould IV, Andreas Tarandi, someone I'll just call Jens, Rick Sturman, an amazing backer who is hopefully enjoying some wonderful West Coast weather, a good friend of mine, and one of the local folks, Silas Lind, Mariah Million, Tensoon, or Tensoon Shadow, as some of you might know him, one of our first Illuminated backers ever. So an amazing shout out to being so supportive in the early days. Miranda, those of you who know Miranda as a cast member on the show, also ran a amazing Teens in Space backer only game, and then did a lot of really excellent work for the show on the They Came From series, the Onyx Path They Came From series. If you've not listened to those, please do. A backer CD, who's a well-known member of the Discord server. Morgan, who plays Lillian Lane in The Mask Show, also is playing Captain Amara Khazra on the Children of the Periphery Chronicle, airing now. Fantastic player, and just someone whom I have a whole lot of love for. Nathan Pitty. So Nathan is one of our esteemed Adeptus Major backers. He's also someone who is, we'll just say, sort of local to the show. We live in the same geographic space. I get all of my weather updates from Nathan because he lives west of where I do, so he's going to get the weather first, which is super great. John Casey. John is the amazing John who played Vince, and who also plays Fida in the Children of the Periphery show. He's an amazing friend. We love you, John. The entire show collectively loves you. PT, I'll just say it's PT. And if you know PT, you know that likely when you think about PT, you think of eyeballs and likely the King in Yellow. That's really just the easiest way to put it. John Sumrow, fantastic artist, creator, a nice guy to have a beer with. Also did the season 3 and season 4 posters for the Masks show, which are still available, plus all of his amazing art over at his spot. Just to Google Sumro and all of John's amazing work will just instantly appear on your computer. Zach Teichman, good friend of the show. And then Lonnie, another backer who you know as likely as first you met Lonnie in the Masks show as Lawrence Edward Oliver Forsyth, the man who went too soon, but also just a very giving friend and someone who we greatly appreciate on the show. And my friend Al Smith, the man who single-handedly is the king of Iowa. He doesn't know that, but I've dubbed him the king of Iowa. That has now happened. It's legally binding. See me for the paperwork, Al. Kellen, Keeper Dave from MUP, from the Miskatonic University podcast. Our amazing friendship and relationship with the folks over at MUP. If you're not backing the Miskatonic University podcast and you love weird and horrific role-playing games and stories, go check them out. Totally worth your dollars of support. Eric Carlson. Some of us know Eric as Darth Eric on the Discord server. If you, let me stop here. Let me just dig right in here. If you have not joined the Discord server for the Always Podcast, you need to, if only to have your life enriched by the intricate reviews and notes that Eric will take on each of the shows that he listens to. Just an amazing record. His notebooks are sort of like the silver record, or perhaps the Akashic record of the show. If I had one ask, it would be that Eric someday would create a wiki web to just totally build out all of it. But he provides us so much in support, both obviously his support of the show as a backer, but also his support of the community. He is greatly, greatly loved. Morgan Jock. So Morgan is fun, and I enjoy his messages immensely. Allison Raby, who Allie, as you might know, played Katerina Bogdanovich on the VTM show, also plays Kainat on the Children of the Periphery Coriolis campaign, also plays Agent Hart on the Delta Green show. So we appreciate her support. Alec Tomlins, Patrick Myers, Easton Horton, Andy Calahofer, I think. Andy, of course, is very opinionated, and I'm certain that he will come in and correct the record of the pronunciation of his last names. If I've butchered it, please just understand that before I began recording, I am enjoying some holiday beverages, so just, get the mouth moving. Claudia Appel, Richard Brass, prolific commenter in our Patreon, and liker of almost every single post on Facebook. I see you, Richard, and I appreciate you. Vettel, Scott Voltsmeer, I think that's right. Apologies, deepest apologies if I've mispronounced that. Dave Churchill, as I like to call him, Fireman Dave. Puddle Time, Michael Van Doorn, John Imre, Jesse Bruning, a longtime patron, and then Jake, who you know plays Jack Doyle and will likely be playing other characters as things continue. Lee Carnell, fantastic. Love you very much, Lee. Hope you're doing well. John Raffleson, Paul Dimitrovich, Jonathan Day, Deanna Brown. Deanna is an amazing supporter of this show and all the things we do, and I want her to especially hear that the show appreciates her. David Feig, or David Feig, Scott Appleman, David Dryden, James Stewart, Evan Perlman, who we love. If you've not checked out a bunch of Evan's work on the Miskatonic repository, you totally should. You are absolutely missing out if you've not checked it out. Nate, I think Nate is really all we have to say. Nate, who plays Special Agent Elliot Winters. Nate, who played in the Teens in Space game. Nate, who is currently playing in all sorts of games I can only imagine. Jonas Anderson, Josh King, George Jarrell, Saruton, Murph. Again, a good friend over at the Miskatonic University podcast. We greatly appreciate his backing and all the amazing conversations we've had over the years. I greatly miss you. I know that I will see you in the future. Hopefully in fair Providence. Dagmara, Gary Pearson, Tegan, of course, as some of you know, as Young Buck. And that would be Brett Hawking, also formerly Rom, fan favorite and beloved Malkavian on our VTM shows. Bridget Jeffries, who you know from all sorts of places, right? You know her from her work with Chaosium. You know her from the Miskatonic repository work. She has her entire own bag of just amazing stuff that she does on the Symphony Entertainment channels and her company. So if you haven't checked out Symphony, go over there. And then another Nate, although a Nate you don't know, a Nate that occasionally drops by the Discord. He is, of course, lost in time and space. Thank you for your support. Stefan Anundi. Anne, who I met last year at Chaosium Con. Tremendous, wonderful supporter. Much love. Thank you so much. Hope you are doing well. Andrew Keller, Man with a Magic Mind, Heather Hoffs, Chris Bates, Heather Miller, who is an amazing person and a beloved friend, Ryan Hill, Kevin Dolan, Mirka Stobinia, Jim Dovey, Tyler Ponder, Victor Jimenez Lara, Joe Webb, Gene Willie, Another Luddite, Dan Cassidy, Stefan. We greatly appreciate all of your assistance in the work in Day on the Stead. Hopefully you've all enjoyed that introductory RuneQuest bit and more to come. Alec M, Morin Taylor, Ace of Spades 42. I like the handles. EMFD, there's another handle. Christopher Snazel, Regular Sized Mom, who you might know as the amazing, prolific, creative engine behind Odd Duck Dice. She is also the beloved and spirit-lifting Icarus on our Children of the Periphery campaign. This is the longest name I have to list here, so the peculiarly prickly Piccolo playing possum, partially preparing to profoundly partake in Percy Panda's punchy piano performance. Timothy Hart, Feather, Matthew Mayworm, Ryan, Phil H., Tim, Misty Long, Hugo Schroeder, Bucho. Let me just stop here on my brother in arms, my comrade. In so many ways, Bucho is an author, a DJ, and does a ton of other stuff. Come jump in either the Old Ways Discord or the Symphony Discord and prepare to be Buchoed. I think that's where I'll leave it. Jonah Criswell, Ryland Garnett, John R. Tyler, Dr. Bones, my son. Son, I hope you are well. Coleman Agunaga, Nathan Ballingrud, who, of course, as the author of so many wonderful books, prolific, amazing author. Please go read his stuff. I implore you. Skip Morton, who I feel like at this point soon calling Commodore Skip. I'm certain that nickname will stick. Bramble, Volans, Rachel Cutler, Nate Norgard, Brandon, GTK. That's the only thing I have here is GTK. Aaron Heydrich, T. Paris, Jake London, Katie Siddell, and we'll just end with Drew. So if your name for whatever reason was not called, and you're thinking, wait a minute, I backed that show, or I thought I backed that show, you might want to check in with the Patreon. Just double check. If you want to be included on the next list, you have to join and be on the Patreon at the end of the year when I do my amazing name reading for each year. And if you have any corrections for me, if the name pronunciation needs to be correct, please enclose that message for me directly, either via email or jump on the Discord server and say, hey, this is how my name is pronounced, just for clarity. But I think it's really important as 2023 comes to a close to just say thank you. To not do anything more than just say thank you to our amazing backer community, the people who have given of themselves to support a show that means the world to them and means the world to us. So, as I often say, thank you for the gift of your time. Be good to yourself and those around you.